Yo, welcome to this episode with myself. Hey, welcome to the round table on a square table. Say what? This is where we're going to sit down with Vitruvian Health team members, trainers, myself, unpacking their training plans. Why are they doing what they do? Let's find out. What are the techniques or tips that we could implement right here, right now in our own training experiences? Look at their client success stories and what they've been doing to get people the results, so then you can use that information to help improve your own training, improve your own nutrition, or hack the system, and then also improving your lifestyle literally from this episode. So take notes and enjoy, and let's go. Yo, welcome to this episode 117. Woo! It's been more than 2 years of doing podcasting. How much fun is that? This episode is brought to you from me about talking about fitness influencers or freelancers and the pros and cons of the industry from how I see it. So the first thing we're here to talk about is what am I drinking today? Today I am drinking an amino acid blend with beetroot. Why am I using beetroot? Beetroot is a vasodilator, increases blood flow and pump. You could use citrulline malate, that's a bonus one, but I prefer to use beetroot powder. I'll get my veggies in. Though the thing to notice is if you're getting bloated when you use beet powder, it can be a moderate to high FODMAP, so it could be an irritant to those with maybe some digestive upsets or bowel issues. So that's enough about what I'm drinking. Let's dive into this episode. Let's talk about personal training and the journey. So yeah, this is a fun one. Long ago when I started as a young whippersnapper, PT industry, I started as a subcontractor. So back when I was, I was 18, I was making like $40. I was making, no, it was $30, $32 and $35. And I was making bank. I thought I was the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas. However, I thought I was doing so well, making lots and lots and lots of money. Forgot that I wasn't being paid super. And I only realized that in a conversation, I think at a Christmas party this year, I bumped into an old colleague at that gym. And he goes, "You never got paid super, you know that?" I was like, "No, man, I worked there for like 5 years. I made all this money. It was so good." And then I was like, "Oh, yeah, I never had a super account. So it was interesting that I never got paid any super, but man, would have been a lot better off if I did. However, for me personally, I was a big believer of learning, evolving, and growing. And so I learned a lot at that facility, and it was just the contract that I signed. Like, did I read the contract? No, I was super excited to work there. Great owners, taught me a lot at the facility. It's just a thing I didn't know. Like, if you don't know, you don't know. So it's really interesting. I did the numbers and I was like, if I got paid super, like back then, if I was making six figures a year over 5 years and super was 10%, man, what if I had 250K in super? I did not have that, and my super account is very dismal in comparison, but never really had a super account because the model that I operated from was subcontract, and subcontract to me is either you get paid a percentage per session, but really it's on you to really learn the lessons. And when I thought I was making, $30, $32, $35 based off. And so the model was like, if you did like under 20 sessions, it was $30. If you did 20 to 30 sessions, you got paid $32 as a bonus to extra $2. And if you were doing 35 plus and above, you were getting $35. So it was pretty cool. And then there were bonuses if you had clients that had done 100 sessions with you, or if you retained clients for longer, if they were your own. So you can make anywhere between like $30 and $45 in a session. And it was really cool because I kind of had control. I would give in my timesheet every 2 weeks and I would get paid, and it was pretty cool seeing that amount of money at age 18 into my bank account, where I had friends that were making $10 an hour as apprentices or $9, and I was like, cool, I'm making way much more, I am so much better. But the truth was, after those 5 years, I sat down for a few days and I actually calculated, if I worked 40 hours, I made 35, let's say it's $40, I made $1,600 in that week. Awesome, great. But the thing is, most PTs, what they don't calculate is, if I was to do a 1 hour session and then I did 1 hour of programming and say, texting as well, that $40 now becomes $20 in that hour. So it's over 80 hours. Then there's the texting that you do. Then you've also got to do your own training. Then there's courses that you should be investing in. Now, most trainers are only required if we have an insurance provider. Some don't. But if you have an insurance or certification, you only need to do every 2 years, 16 hours of personal development, which is Saturday and a Sunday. That's 2 days. Now, I was doing it like once a month. There were times where I would come home, Kay, to be like, what are we doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm off to America to meet this guy called Charles Poliquin for 3 days, and then I'll be back. And she'd be like, what? What about us? I'm like, oh, well, I'll be back Monday. We'll see you then. So Kate unfortunately got short end of that straw, or stick. Though, flights, accommodation, literally like the money I would make, I wouldn't have, and then the sessions I would lose out as well. So what would happen is I wouldn't make any money that week, or spent it all. And so it was just a constant churn and burn, and I calculated based off all the hours that I did, the money that I made, I worked out that I was making $7.32. So the people that I thought I was better than actually turned out that they were actually better off, because they would work 40 hours and then hang out with friends and family. Though fast forward, now after those 5 years, there was no super payments, there was no tax that was paid, so then I had to pay that as well. And so it was a real big punch to the gut. And so my personal opinion, my personal preference and how I see the industry is subcontractor works for up to 6 to 12 months, because if someone is upskilling you every month, then yeah, sure, that makes sense. But if they're not calculating, going, hey, here's $40 and you need to put away $5 now into super, so you should keep $35 for you and manage your super. I was never shown that, but someone who's doing subcontract should show that. So in the first 12 months, yes, and obviously there are policies in place now that you should be, after 12 months, a contractor should be issued an employment or a progression, like in any professional career. There's a probationary period and then they receive a new terms and condition. So my personal preference is that employee takes the guesswork out of everything. They pay your super, they pay your tax. So if you were paid $40, you might get $31. If it's 30% tax, then 4, 8, 12, so 12, so you get 28. And then the thing is it inclusive of super? So they would take out another $4, or is it exclusive, meaning they pay on top of? So you get 28 and they pay your tax $12 if it was 30%, plus another $4 for super. So it's like the two difference of words, right? Inclusive, it means you now get $24, or it's exclusive, they pay an extra $4. So a lot of the time people think they should be entitled to all the money, yet they don't think about taxes, they don't think about rent, they don't think about there's any of those variables. So I prefer employment because it's set and forget. So for me, Vitruvian Health will pay me every 2 weeks. This is my money that I get, great. And then at the end of the quarter, the tax and super has been paid. And it doesn't get taken out of that sum of money. So it's a much more stress-free environment, because I get to then focus on training and coaching and learning, and all the other stuff is done for me. Where if you're a contractor and you're paying rent, that works really well because it's a set figure. If it's $400 rent, everything on top. So if you go, I'm going to charge $100 for PT, cool, I need 4 sessions a week, that covers my rent, and then you just scale upwards. Same thing with employment. If you are on a salary, get bonuses and commissions put in, because then for the work you do, you're rewarded for that. A lot of salaries are out there that it's just a flat rate, and all in employers and people, they always want you to do more. So just being mindful of model that works for you. So super, inclusive, exclusive. If you're a contractor, you don't have to pay super, but you should set up 10% of your earnings. So then it's like a nest egg for the future. For me, again, I didn't get that at the beginning. However, I did invest everything into the S&P Me 500. So it's all about learning and upskilling and growing. And so I've done that. So the first thing really is, if you're a freelance trainer, you've got typically employment, subcontract, to take a percentage, contract, where you pay rent, and then the last one is a mentor arrangement, where you would employ or hire someone to mentor and coach you through it. All 4 work, I've done all four. Subcontract, obviously I didn't know what I didn't know, but I personally am not a fan of subcontract just because there's a lot of variables. In the first 12 months, I think it works really well because it's a way to find your base. However, I'd look to scale to employment or to contract where it's just a flat fee and figure. And the last part is really what is the expectation that you would have of someone you would work with, but also like what is the learning development pathway. Like at Vitruvian Health, every month we're reinvesting in the studio. Like we've got a trampoline rebounder, we got a new dual stack seated row, and we got a glute drive hip extension. So you can bend the knee, so you could do back extension when you're fatigued, you then bend your knee at 90 degrees, push the heel into a plate, and so you shorten the fibre of the glute and the hammy, and you can overload the glute and hamstring because people want more glute and hamstring work. So it's a real nice way to favour that. So a lot of the time with gyms, they're not always reinvesting in their facility. Like it is about any business, it's about making profit, but rarely do you see them investing in more equipment, more improving services into meals. It's usually the same, like vending machine, same things. They're not investing in getting people into educate or upskill. So yeah, it's chicken or the egg on that one. But my personal preference is that if you're going to work anyway, there should be development and upskill pathways. All right, next one, education certification. Do you need them? So do you need them? You actually don't. Cert 3, Cert 4, once you've got your certificate 3 or 4, or there's NSM in America, ACE, ISSA, AIPT, there's Clean Health out there, a lot of education providers, a lot of people are like, which one's the best one? At the end of the day, they're all really the same because there's a certain amount that they need to do, and then they'll add on. Like Clean Health does well in the sense of they'll recommend extra courses, and so they've got like level 1 performance, 2, 3, so they'll teach you about strength and conditioning, program design, so they'll add more on top. But the thing is, fundamentally, you only need to use Cert 4 to train someone one-to-one, and then again, there's people doing life coach certifications over a 2-day period, and then they can work with people. So yeah, that one's a concern. That's all you need to do. There's no university degree. I think in the UK you have to do a university degree, which I'm a fan of because it teaches people the discipline of like being consistent, working through. I think anything that's 3 months or less, it's tricky because I know for a long time I was traveling and doing a lot of courses, but I wasn't asking like, what's the intention of this one? What's my one thing I'm going to take away from it? People don't get taught that until like later on. I think a lot of personal development courses that I've done, I've started to realize I've always gone in with the model of like, what's one thing I can take away from this that I can apply to what I do? And that's a big game changer. So you don't have to do lots of courses. You could sit down, you could read books, you could watch YouTube videos and podcasts. The question always is like, what's one thing I can take away from this and apply to better serve and help the people that I want to help? And I don't think, like the fitness industry, it's not regulated. So there is a lot of coaches out there that are not certified that I'm aware of. Won't name names. Yep, cameraman.
Drop it.
Nope.
Name the names.
Andy, the cameraman. There's a lot of gaps. And that's okay because fundamentally if someone cares, really wants to care and they're going to do the research themselves and find out how to help you, then look, there's a kind of a way around that. There's kind of a way. So like you could have a Pilates certified instructor, so they're teaching you how to engage your core and work with it. The thing is, they might not know how to do powerlifting-based movements, but the thing is, by you telling them what's going on, what's happening, they're like, well, I know that if I strengthen your core-based muscles and you feel more control and can lock in harder, that should carry over to your powerlifting sport. So then when you go to powerlifting coach, like, oh, you seem to be able to brace better. Well, so like, it's not saying, hey, they shouldn't do one-on-one PT and whatnot, but it's, as long as people have the right intention, I'm a big believer that's like, yep, I'm okay with that. Because the thing is, people aren't going into the industry to harm people. Now, if someone is being oblivious and, like, for example, we're talking about scar tissue. So lady who is getting hip pain, and we're talking about my partner's Kate, she's having a pregnancy, having a baby, super excited. But she's like, oh, when I had mine, we had a C-section. And the thing was, I was like, oh, hey, is that an active scar? Like, have you talked to the surgeon? Like, have you gone to like doctor to talk about scars? And she's like, why would I do that? Because it's like, well, if you have an active scar, then it could actually be impeding muscle recruitment. She's like, huh, interesting. And so I'm like, lie down. We tested it, seemed fine. So I'm like, okay, well, it's really like if you wanted to do that. Now, the other one would be if someone like says like I've got anxiety or depression, it's like I'm not going to be like, depression's not a thing, rah! It's like, well, are you a psychotherapist or a psychologist, Carl? No. It's like, well, hey, like, do you need help? Do you want to talk about it? They might say yes. It's like, cool, like this is outside my scope. My recommendation is like you go see like psychotherapist. There's actually a guy on is it level 4? I think it's level 4 in this building. Runs a clinic. People go to see him for sleeping solutions. Sometimes people will be stressed with sleep. And he goes, cool, well, look, the best thing to move forward is, like, we could do this, but my recommendation is write a prescription, like, go see this therapist. So you can still listen and hear someone, but the thing is to then go, oh, I can resolve that. It's like, no, like, refer on. So, like, I've done NLP, I've done coaching courses, and it's like, hey, look, I can help, however, because the thing is there's all these medical spaces out there that are trained professionals to help people, and really what they're doing is giving them the tools. You can be there to listen to someone and guide them, but the thing is once it's out of your realm and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing, like, go out. Like, there's heaps of trainers out there that have played doctor, where it's like they literally, like, I love this one. People are like, oh, what supplement should I take? It's like, well, what does your blood work say? Like, I don't know. Because one lady a while ago, she was taking high dosage of vitamin D, got her bloods done, and her vitamin D was sitting at like 200. I was like, that should be like around 120, not 200. And so then when she saw the doctor, he was like, what the hell? You should be like suing that trainer. She's like, no, he was really nice. I'm like, yeah, but he didn't look at your blood work. Like, it's like, I think you need vitamin D or... Yeah, there's certain supplements like magnesium, fish oil, multis. There's base ones that, like, there's a certain threshold that if you took too much, like, not great for you. But the thing is that threshold is very high, like 10, 15 times more. Like, if you take too much magnesium, you shit yourself. Cool, stop taking as much. So yeah, like, the industry is not hugely regulated, and I really just think you should find a trainer that's, one, constantly educating themselves, getting results, but also someone who's empathetic and cares. Like, what is it you really want to achieve? I want to lose 5 kilos. Why do you want to lose 5 kilos? Like, we've had one guy, he's like, oh, I want to just build muscle, lose weight. And the trainer was like, yep, okay, let's get started. I'm like, no. Like, what is the reason? Like, why are you here? He's like, oh, because my partner's cheating on me. I'm like, okay. So we really need to actually put on some muscle. It's like, yeah, but why more muscle? It's like, oh, because the guy she was with, had more muscle than me. I'm like, okay, well, is it that? And then scratch deeper and deeper. I'm like, well, why did she cheat on you? He's like, oh, well, like, we're just not having as much sex. I'm like, okay, why aren't you having as much sex? He's like, well, I go to the brothel like twice a month, and, when she doesn't put out, I'm like, oh, dude, no, she's not sleeping with the other guy because of muscle. It's maybe because you like maybe doing something else. So, yeah, they should really ask questions, not to that extreme. I love questions. I love data, because the more data you have, numbers don't lie. So, if you put on 2 kilos of muscle, you feel bigger and stronger, plan's working. If you've lost muscle, then the plan's not working, because the goal is to put on muscle. So coaches should always ask some questions, find out really what's going on. And so if your trainer's not asking you questions and they're just taking your money, probably run. All right, finding your niche. Who do you want to train? Well, you can specialize in anything from fat loss, bodybuilding, injury, rehab, corporate fitness. Identify your ideal client, what makes the marketing and sales easier, and balance your passion with demand in the fitness industry. Yeah, you should have a niche. Me personally, my intention is just I like knowing stuff. I love learning from other coaches. Like at Vitruvian Health, I want to have like 20 different trainers that specialize in body composition, strength training, manual therapy, ART, structural balance, muscle test, and just collaboratively they all come together and serve and help people. So like, I don't have the answers. There are times where Eddie will coach someone and they're like, wow, that was the best session ever. And I'm like, But I said that before. But Eddie just says it slightly differently. Not everyone will gel with me. Andy edited in that everyone should gel with me. Yes, everyone. No, I'm not for everyone, and Eddie's not for everyone. And this is the beauty of a team, is that we can come together and collaborate on that. Specializing, just knowing your craft, staying in your lane. So with fat loss, if you don't know what proteins, fats, and carbs are, don't talk about macros. If you know what protein, fats, and carbs are, then you can talk about macros. Fun fact on that is most trainers don't have a nutrition or diploma in nutrition dietetics, yet they give nutritional advice. That's because they work off their own experience. Though I find it interesting that people will recommend going keto and they haven't gone keto. Interesting. That's like a doctor giving medical advice without a doctor's medical degree. So just stick in your lane. Business and branding, turning fitness into a full-time income, setting up your personal... look, when it comes to marketing, I'm not really great at this. That's why I got Andy. And I spend a lot of time with other people. Though the biggest thing is, what is the intention? Like today, the intention is to talk about how I started as a PT, how I got kind of shafted, but it was a learning experience and I loved and learned from it. And would I change it? No, because I learned a lot. Probably would have been better to learn the lesson faster. And then really just focusing on employment or contract where it takes the guesswork out of everything, or I have a set fee. And the thing is, both work, but surround yourself with like-minded people, because then you'll always have great conversations and you'll constantly learn, evolve and grow. And if you're learning and evolving and growing, you'll improve your service, the quality and what you do, and just being consistent with that message. So when it comes to marketing, really it's doing that. Just be your authentic self and just think about the person that you want to serve. Now, if you're going to price that, you can price it out hourly or in packages. The thing is, if you're charging hourly, most people forget about the work that you do on the side of it. So for example, if you're paying $100 a week for one session, most people think that's $100 for the hour. It's like, well, no, you get access to me. There are services that are added. You get access to the facility. You get access to X, Y, Z. And most people, you just want to stack the deck in your favor. You can price it out as a package. And so you're securing, say, funds for 12 weeks. But then what's included in that? You get programming, you get nutritional guidance, you get support, accountability. We'll do check-ins. But a lot of people, they just focus on, so I'm doing 12 sessions. It's like, you can do 12 sessions, you could do 12 weeks. So people then secure themselves for a period of time. And that builds consistency and cash flow. Which one's better than the other? Depends who you talk to. Some people swear black and blue that you should do packages, and some will say hourly. It's really what's easiest for you. Like if you wanted to have a regular reoccurring weekly debit, then cool, charge weekly. Don't do hours. You go, one session is included a week. If you use it or you don't, you forfeit it. Like it's up to you. And so that puts the onus of the person to manage their calendar around your calendar. Packages, the money's always better in your account than someone else's. So larger sum. So then it also means like if you need $1,000 a week to survive on, and someone pays you $5,000, well then you can lay out the next 5 weeks, which decreases stress on you, so you can maybe be more productive on other efforts. So being diligent with that one. There's no one size fits all. So we've got face-to-face, we've got hybrid and online. So many people say online is better. So many, I love the marketing on this. It's just classic. And he's looking right at me like, tell me more. Yes, Andy, I will tell you more. No, the marketing, it's great. So we have personal training packages that vary from $100 up to $100,000. People are like, that's huge. Well, some people want us to travel with them, so we train them. We'll go to where they want to be for a holiday the day before. We'll check out the gym, the studios. We'll find out where they can get good food so they get their protein in. So then when they arrive, they don't have to think about that. They can have a great time with their family. We'll get their foods done. I'm a massage therapist as well. So add massage, not a happy ending, just massage, just to be real clear on that one. So if they're feeling stiff, trigger point release, they might have some conferences. So I'm there for an hour or two each day to support and serve them so they can be the best version of themselves. So they have more time with their family. We had one of the clients, he came in and he's like, my daughter's sick, but she's hurt her ankle and her foot. I'm like, yeah, sure. Got her on the table, worked on her calf and her ankle, and she's running and bouncing pain-free again. So $100,000 package up to there, but then we still give the same service and resources to the people that pay the 100. But the thing is, they have to do the trigger point release work. They need to do certain things. So we'll show them, but they need to then be mindful and do that. So paying for convenience, there's several packages and plans based off people, and they decide the budget. So which one is better? None of them is better. But the thing is, I really enjoy, like, if someone, let's say this, if you pay $100 a week, that is $100 a week. And then the way to market that, and let's say you only work with me for 12 weeks, that's $1,200. A lot of people are marketing would say, oh, Karl just signed up a $52,000 package or a $5,200. It's like, no, you signed up $100. But they'll market it and they'll think the lifetime value of that person is 1 year. Well, technically, our lifetime value of clients, people have worked with us for up to 10 years. Our average person is about 3 to 5 years. And then they've learned the resources and then they go apply it themselves. So let's say 3 years. That means $100 a week. That person's value is $1,500. So then marketers would go, Karl just signed up a $1,500 package. And people are like, wow, $1,500, that's heaps. It's like, no, it's $100 a week. And so it's interesting that Kate, I would show Kate, I'm like, oh, isn't this really interesting that this person's made like $30,000 in one day, yet they haven't made that much. She's like, how? I'm like, they signed up 5 people at $40, and that's $200. And if you times that by their lifetime, she's like, yeah, but what if they cancel next month? I'm like, well, then technically they didn't make that much. So from a marketing perspective, would you rather see like, hey, I just made $40 this week? Or if you saw, I just made $5,000 in one day, you'd be like, oh, what is he doing? So marketing can be the highlights and the highest points. It's never really the low points. Fundamentally, like, for example, fat loss. Eat more vegetables, decrease toxins, alcohol, fast foods, fatty foods. Move more, sleep more, and train close to failure. That's it. Off you go. In a calorie deficit, eat more vegetables so your body can detoxify. Don't eat the foods that are toxic to you or that bloat you or have you putting on the weight. Like, don't eat your chocolate cake. And when you have an urge to eat those foods, it's probably something emotionally or stressful that's occurring in your life, and you should just reflect on that moment and go, why is this happening to me? How can I handle it? How is it happening, or why is it happening? Cool. Then you overcome that, then you don't have that craving for food anymore. Okay, problem solved. Go train harder and move more. But that's not marketing, that's not sexy. Because the thing would be like, well, how would I train more? What is the best approach? The best approach is the most consistent one. Done. Like, there you go. But people don't want to hear that. They want to hear, like, by having an espresso or a long black coffee first thing in the morning, you increase fat oxidation, which will burn more fat when you do fasted cardio. Like, would you rather do 20 bags of green tea, like 20 bags, and then drink that, or an espresso or a long black? Well, these two are much quicker. This tastes awful. The thing is, they will have the same amount of caffeine. Or take a little white pill called a caffeine pill, pop that, and then off you go. Like, that's how you increase fat oxidation. No one is going to tell you that your body will store more fat later because you'll eat the same amount of calories. People just wanted to hear those parts. Maximize fat oxidation to burn more fat during fasted cardio. Do this. So that's kind of marketing itself. Though someone summarized it to me as like, just have a clear intention in what you're talking about. Why are you doing it and who's it for? And that, really, if you get results, that'll build trust in a brand so you can get more referrals. Next point, client retention and building long-term success. Treat people like people and get them the results, but also have a metric in place to hold them accountable. So we do calipers and skin folds and scale weight. A lot of the time, I love when people hop on the scale. It's like, oh, I put on weight. What does it mean? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, cool, stop complaining about the number. And you pinch them like, hey, so technically since you started, your body fat's down like 3% and you've put on 1.5 kilos of muscle. Real fun fact, if you do this long enough, I'm really excited. 7 years ago, worked with some gentlemen and then they worked with another trainer. Super humbled by the experience. However, they came back and they're 23% fatter. So they put on more body fat. So yes, fabulously attractive today they are, but they've put on 21 to 23% body fat, and one's lost 12 kilos of muscle mass and one's lost 15. Oh, that's right, you should have stayed with me. But it was just really interesting for them to go, huh, cool. how can we get that muscle back and drop that body fat? So for them, it's like, well, what's the easiest thing to do? It's like, cool, let's start drinking green juice in the morning, get your vegetables in. And these are guys that like, they would drink, they would eat KFC, they eat out. The thing is, they're not going to change that. But the thing is, by just getting them to do one thing and gradually build it, we can track and measure. Hey, is that working? Hey, my weight's gone up. Okay, cool. Having green juice doesn't work for you. Logically and based off theory, it should make sense, but for you, it just doesn't. What if we reduce the KFC? Give it up. Instead of having 8 original piece, do 6. So that's still going to cause a calorie deficit. And lastly, future of fitness, trends and opportunities, which is really interesting, is where do I see it going? Well, with AI-based workouts, it just needs to be more personalized than ever. Most of the time, people are thinking it's online, it's in person. I think in person is really where it's at. On the wearables, either it can be a two-prong approach. Wearables where people will over-observe the data. So, for example, I know Kate, she was like, oh, my HRV is 46, it's gone down, I shouldn't train. I'm like, okay, like if you did train, what would happen? She's like, oh, I reduced my stress. Like she wouldn't train and then it still wouldn't be better. I'm like, okay, well, what if you go train? She trains, she feels better, and then it goes back up. So I think wearables and data is helpful because they don't lie, but I think it's still not quite there where it's personalized to help someone understand like what is the best action from them. Like if your wearable says you shouldn't train, cool, still train, move the body because that'll loosen you up so you feel better, but maybe don't train as intensive or as heavy. Maybe today is more about just the movement, lifting the weights that you lifted at week 1. Also, some movements you'll find you can lift heavier, and some movements you're just like, I can't do it today. Cool, don't lift heavier on those ones. A lot of the time, if you compare like to an athlete whose professional career is to train in that sport and they sleep like 8 to 9 hours, they're paid to do that. They also, every 4 years, an Olympic athlete or athletes once a year, like they peak themselves to the final, like the finals or the game day or the big event. They don't PR and max every single day. Yep, everyone thinks they do. And so now everyone does that. But the thing is, everyone's got stress, kids, career. They work more than 8 hours. They don't sleep the 8 hours that an athlete would. So we're at a massive disadvantage. I think everyone needs to kind of dial it back and just really get more in tune with what is your body saying with you today. If you're feeling tight, work more mobility, lift lighter. Like the thing is, if you were to get stronger over 6 months, cool, you got stronger. But the thing is, people are trying to get stronger every month to month because of comparison. There's no need. Like you just hurt yourself and then you're just up and down, up and down. Or if you took a slower approach, decreased risk to injury, if you still got stronger, it'd be worth it. So online, it's on the rise. A lot of people are doing it. There's a lot of great online coaches because they do online check-ins. They're doing lives and tools to support people and then nurture people. There's also a lot of charlatans out there that are just taking money and giving people cookie cutter and just, here you go. Like we have a full bulletproof system that's based over 32 movements. I can tell you what level you're at and I can tell you all the weights that you should be able to lift. If you can't lift these weights, you're not ready for that lift. So many people like for calf raises, like if you just stood right now, stand 60 reps, rest 1 minute, 60 reps. If you can't do 3 sets of those, your calves are not like able to push with weight. You just don't have the endurance, the muscle doesn't have the capacity to handle it. So you're just going to get sore, beat up, and if you're sore and beat up, you're then not going to train as hard the next week, or your technique will break down. And this is where so many people get injuries. Fun fact, your heel goes down, you strike, push through the toe, and you roll through. That's like a calf raise. And most people don't have the strength to do 60 calf raises, yet they're doing 10,000 steps a day. Like, blows my mind. Like, and they're like, it's really hard to exercise. 60 reps, 3 sets. It's only going to take 9 minutes with a 1 minute rest. It's only going to take 9 minutes. How is that so hard? Some people have this belief that it's going to take an hour. So online's great because then they don't think about the journey, like to get to the gym or the training space and then to do the exercise. Sometimes the travel time takes an hour. Like if you would just cut it, do it at home, that's where online helps. And so also face-to-face, because you can have someone in there to check your technique. Both work well. That's why hybrid works best, because you get the face-to-face and the online. So online, definitely great coaches out there, a lot of charlatans, same thing with face-to-face. I think all of it works really nicely if you've got someone who's asking you the right questions and using it, but then using the data and the wearables to check in with you. Like, hey, everything looks like it's moving in the wrong direction. What's going on? I'm just like, it's the end of the month. I got to hit my targets, because if I don't hit my targets, I can't get my bonuses and my pay raises for next quarter. Cool. Let's dial that in. Let's reduce the volume so you can still get the training in. Let's maybe increase your magnesium to help you with recovery so you can get the most out of your sleep, so you can stay on top of it. So then when you do have time, we can push it that a bit harder. Sounds good. Like, those are the conversations that should be had, not, well, Karl, it would appear that your data hasn't been tracked and logged. Seems like you're being a little bit soft this week. It's like, yeah, but dude, I've got all this stuff at work. Well, you wanted to get results, so suck it up. And then you get an injury and then you can't do either of them. And you're like, dude, if you just listen to me, then I wouldn't be in this situation. I just needed to get it off my chest and have someone translate what I'm trying to say, because I don't have the time to translate. So definitely can have that conversation with ChatGPT, or a good coach will ask those questions and get you to where you need to be. So final thoughts. Fitness industry isn't regulated. Look at the results that people have. Do a free consult with them. If they ask questions and you feel heard, great. They should be able to give you a strategy and a plan of where they're going to take you, and should give you that certainty that it's the right step. Prices can vary anywhere between $50 up to, well, as you know, 100,000. But there are coaches out there that charge $1 million. I know, right? But the thing is, if their track workout is I guarantee you'll get a result, and if you don't, I'll give you the money back. Well, then cool. If you gave someone $1 million and then you made $2 million, you'd make that bet any day of the week for the year. Done, take my money, because then I'll get $2 million. And then I'll give you another $1 million. I'll turn that $2 million to $4 million. So if you have that certainty in the process, you can definitely get there. Fun fact, if you just ask yourself today, what is the thing that I need? You could probably come up with the answer. So for any personal trainer that's feeling stuck, because I knew if I had a coach or a mentor in the past, look, if you're feeling stuck, come to 307 Pitt Street. I'll get an espresso. You get whatever you want. Let's get a coffee and let's chat for 30 minutes and see how I can help you. Because a lot of coaches out there are being put into mentoring programs and it's not working for them. I can do mentoring and coaching with you, but the thing is just having a 30-minute conversation to let someone listen and go, hey, you're actually on the right path. It's just going to take some time. Then you're like, cool, peace of mind. I've had several coaches do that. And they've gone from 0 sessions to 20 sessions within their month. The only thing they need to do is walk the gym floor, talk to members, offer them a free consult, and then pitch them a sale after. A lot of great people out there, people that I've worked with. I've got Mark Katobri, Dan Henderson, I've got Dan McDonald, Dylan Fowler, Jimmy Pom. These are just 5 people that I've worked with in the last few years. All great people that have helped me. There's Christian Maurice. We've got a whole spreadsheet of all the people that we've worked with, trialed and tested. There's Jen Collins, Beck Anderson, Charles Poliquin, done some stuff with Gary Vee, not personally, but in his group. I've read books from Dan Martell, you've got Alex Amosi. So I've learned stuff from all of these people, and there's way more. I've worked with over 100 people, but the question is always, what is the intention and what is one thing I can learn from them today? And then apply it, because if you don't apply it, it's open, it sticks. It only sticks if you make that intention. You get glue, and that sticks. So, hope you enjoyed. Till the next podcast, adios, amigos. Enjoy.